Welcome to Doc's Download, the podcast edition, where real conversations meet real Buckeye life. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Shivers, Senior Vice President for Student Life, and better known as Doc, here to bring you stories, strategies, and a few laughs along the way. Whether you're a brand new Buckeye or a seasoned one, consider this your all-access pass to tips, truths, and triumphs straight from the heart of campus. Let's dive in, everybody. Back again is my colleague and friend, Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Athletic Director at The Ohio State University. Joining Ross and me is a new voice to the mic. Adam is a fourth-year student from Cambridge, Ohio, majoring in accounting in the honors program. And if that's not enough, Adam is also president of Block O. That's right, the leader of the loudest, proudest student section in college sports, I would venture to say, in the country, the world. Would that be okay?
We would agree.
Excellent, excellent. Welcome, Adam. Our listeners should know that I am a huge, ridiculous college football fan. And I have honestly been looking so forward to this part of the conversation. We're talking all things football season. Tradition evolved, and I cannot wait to hear the student perspective on all of the different enhancements that the best fans in the land will be able to experience in just a few short days, and to keep that game day tradition going. Let's kick things off with football season. Now that you've had a full year under your belt, Ross, what's different heading into the second season?
Yeah, I think what's different is, obviously structurally we changed, a lot of things around in terms of being more nimble with our game day script and just having more flexibility to kind of live in more organic moments. Everything before was really pretty rigid. This could only happen if this happened. And now we have just more flexibility. So that piece speaks to the game day piece of it, which we'll get into. But I think overall, there is no ceiling to Ohio State. And so how do we really turn all the assets on? How do we really capitalize? We have great fans. And honestly, we could do nothing and not change anything, and we'll still be okay. But it could be better. It can be modernized. We can use more innovation. We can, again, layer in more tradition. That's why we called it Tradition Evolves. So the approach was, we're okay, but we don't want to just be okay. We want to be great, and we want to have a standard that everybody says, oh, wow, I didn't realize they could even do more. And so that was a lot of the perspective leading into year two.
That's awesome. And so, Ross, because this is year two for you, and you walk into Ohio Stadium, and it is massive. It is massive. What's one of the things that when you walk into Ohio Stadium, you still get chills about?
Well, I think just knowing the history of how it was built, right? All 88 counties participated in the fundraising campaign. Back then, there weren't like fundraising campaigns, right? Usually, if things were built, it was state money, university money, maybe the Works Progress era was building stadiums. I played at a college, Emporia State, where the stadium was built during that era, and so it was federal money, right? So that was the era, really early 1900s to about after World War II, where things were built not through fundraising. And so the fact that the whole state, you look at pictures, they did parades in downtown Columbus to announce the campaign to build the stadium. The fact that they picked the location where they picked it, the fact that they built it, 65,000 seats. Who would have thought back in 1922 that you needed that many seats? So it was really visionary. So that's the part. And then obviously the rotunda, the towers, the historical features of it, the fact that it's just sort of sacred ground means a whole lot, and that gives you the goosebumps.
Yeah, it's so funny. When I talk to friends and colleagues, they always ask me, what is it like to go to a game in the shoe? Like, we see it on TV. Is it as electric as it looks? And my answer is always, absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the competition, people love Ohio State football, and the energy and excitement that's in that place is incredible. And Adam, a lot of that has to do with Block O and the energy and the excitement that Block O brings. I get to visit with first-year students all the time, and the thing that they're most excited about, of course, going to class is absolutely at the top of the list. And then a real close second might be their opportunity to be in the student section and really getting pumped and excited about what that means to be a Buckeye all year round. But specifically on those 8 home games a year, they are just over the moon about what that's like. Tell me a lot about, Adam, like what made you want to be in Block O and now sitting as the president of Block O, and what does that responsibility mean to you?
It's a huge honor. It really is. I grew up in a small town in East Ohio, and Buckeye football was it. I had a grandpa that went here. I had 3 uncles that went here. This was it, and have been coming to games for as long as I can remember. So, getting to come as a student, and my first game was the Notre Dame game my freshman year. So it was really right off the bat, just full 2 feet down into the shoe and get electric. So I found Block O by mistake. Actually, we still do the event. It's called opening night. And it's kind of the first event where kind of Block O people who get the tickets, join the organization, can come together, pick up T-shirts, kind of get food, that type of thing. So I didn't have Block O tickets my freshman year. And I went to the opening night event because they were giving away free Raising Cane's. So I joined the organization that way, wanted to get involved in football, and got involved that way. Ended up as football director the past 2 years, so I was the crazy guy on the microphone, getting to work with people like College Game Day, Fox Big Noon Kickoff, a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And now as president, I just hope to be able to give back to those freshmen that I was given the opportunity when I came in. So I would say it's just an honor, and it's really cool that I get to live out the tradition every day.
That's amazing, Adam. And I'll tell you, where my seats are in the stadium, I'm oftentimes very jealous of what's happening in the Block O section. And I've considered once or twice just showing up down there, but I don't want to mess up the vibe.
Always welcome.
But you don't tell me that. But you all do just such a fantastic job. What is it like specifically? I have to know this. When it's third down, what is that like in that section? What are you saying to folks to make it like intense?
You can't really describe it. The one I always like to talk about is my sophomore year, Penn State. That was a kind of a tight game for a while, a battle, and it had rained a little bit and field was a little wet, and so it was really a ground and pound game. And I remember the first third down we had. They were kind of close to our end zone, and I turned around. The entire South stands were holding up threes and screaming, and I get chills thinking about it. And it was just a really surreal moment. Pretty cool to be a part of. But I mean, you don't really have to say anything because at the end of the day, they know what's going on. They know what to do. So it's really cool to kind of see everybody come together in that aspect and get loud.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. It's so funny because it feels like on the game day, whatever time the game starts, students get there and they're ready to go. They are ready to bring out the team. They are ready to be active participants, as you just said, and you don't even have to tell people what to do. They just know. But again, that's a culture. Ross and I were talking about culture earlier. That's a culture that's been built. And so lots of kudos to all of you for building that kind of culture and then continuing to sustain that, which can be really tough, which is one of the tough jobs that I think that Ross and his team have is thinking about what's the next level for the game day experience. People can now watch it from home. They can do all these different things. Why show up in the shoe? And then all of a sudden we get tradition evolved. And it is really being promoted as this is why you should come to Ohio Stadium. And this is what you can expect from Ohio State athletics. Ross, I can't wait for you to share with us a little bit more about Tradition Evolved and what can people expect when they come to the shoe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and Adam has been a part of some sort of focus groups, if you will, where there's a lot of discussion and feedback, and you never want to make these kind of decisions in a vacuum. You want as many people at the table as you can, and honestly, I had a lot of people tell me last summer, "Hey, wait till you see game day. It's awesome." But you know what? We probably need to modernize a little bit. We read too many PAs. We have too many down moments. There's not enough engagement. And, again, we can talk about noon kickoffs versus night games. That's a whole nother segment.
But I'm happy to do it.
Our technology, we've got to upgrade our technology. Those things are in the works. But how do we take elements that can apply no matter what the game time is, no matter what the technology is? Let's just make it better and modernize it. So we really started, for me, analyzing, and I couldn't really evaluate it till I saw it. So my first game, you go into the second game, and then we did have a night game, right? So you're able to analyze that. We had big games, Nebraska, Indiana, the team up north game. You're able to see that. So I about probably mid-September, I really challenged our marketing and live event team to say, hey, look, let's start analyzing. Let's start just taking steps to say, hey, what do you not like about the game script? What do you not like about the production? And then we brought in a consultant, and he came in for the Indiana game and the team up north game and really did a deep dive. And then also we want this to apply to all sports. This isn't just football.
Right.
So it came to a couple basketball games, and he does, Johnny Greco is his name, Shine Entertainment, and he's done work in the NBA, the NHL, NFL, other college teams. I mean, he is an expert in game day atmosphere. And what we said was, there's a lot of cool things that we do that we don't want to change. The band. You're not changing the band, right? Block O, we're not changing them. How do we enhance them? Again, the victory bell. We only use it when we win, but it's a symbol for excellence. It's a symbol for energy. For vigor is on the tower. Well, let's take that and let's put it into action, at a different time. How do we use game day presentations? We can't really get away completely from game day presentations, but when we do them, let's make it fun. Let's use the ramp. Let's put a stage where we're honoring whoever it might be. So we just and then music. Music, either like some music, you don't like it. There's all music opinions vary. So it's dangerous when you talk about music, but what is the music sort of theme and how do we integrate music? I believe that the atmospheres start, if the students are engaged, the rest of the stadium follows suit. They have to be the leader. And you look at any venue where you would say, oh, wow, that's a great place to play. Why? Because the students lead it. So taking Block O and having one section, because we're moving the band, that was a ripple effect, which means they have more people condensed, which they should be louder, which means the rest of the stadium should be louder. We're putting speakers and microphones for the band, so the band will be amplified even more. So there's a long list, but Tradition Evolved is really the anchor. We're not going to change tradition, never touch that, but modernize it and evolve to really accommodate what we need to do to bring fans back. And at the end of the day, of course, we want to win. That helps. That's a great marketing plan when you win. But we want the fans walking out going, I'll come back because I was engaged, I had fun, there was never a dull moment, there was always something happening. We can control those things. So that was the premise. And so then we went through the off season. We did focus groups with students, with fans, with alumni groups, with donor groups, with sponsors. This is a big change for our sponsors because we're not reading as many PA announcements, but the value for them should actually go up because the atmosphere is better. So there's a lot of things that took to get to this stage, and I give credit to our team for putting this all together.
So, Ross, would you say, because there was a big difference, Ross, between regular season and when we played Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was a night game, but there was some enhancement that I think you all snuck in there before this season started. Would I be accurate in that assessment?
So what's really fascinating is because that was a college football playoff game.
Yeah.
The college football, it was really their game.
Oh.
Even though we operated it, it was in our stadium, the scripting and the format was the college football playoff staff that put the plan together.
Okay.
So there were certain things that we could not do. But that led to, we know these things can work. So we had less sponsor activations. We had less sponsor public address announcements. We had less sort of downtime. We were able to turn the lights in the LED boards, not the lights, but the LED boards into, all scarlet, right? Because we encouraged our fans to wear scarlet, just like we are for the Texas game. So we were able to do certain things because the control elements were run by the CFP. But what it did is our fans, I had so many people and still do, best atmosphere ever, the most fun I've had. The drone show, obviously that was because it was a night game. The students were really engaged, and that was during winter break.
They came back.
December 20th. The students were engaged. I think the fact that there were that many Tennessee fans, I think our fans got a little agitated by that, so they were ready to go. It was kind of just a perfect storm.
Yeah.
But that really did set the stage to say it can happen. And again, it shouldn't matter the game time. It should be electric no matter what. And I think the Tennessee game provided fuel for a lot of these changes to be acceptable, if you will, even though we believe in them, but a lot of them to be acceptable, to say, that's what I expect, that's what I want, that should be the template moving forward. So it did. It laid the runway for a lot of these things to be adopted.
It was fantastic. I mean, honestly, it was something you couldn't control for, but boy, it gave you permission.
It worked.
It did.
It worked.
And we were freezing. It was really cold, Ross. The next thing you can work on is getting those temps.
Yeah, exactly.
A little higher if we're going to play at night.
We'll try to control that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I know you can do all the things. So Adam, one of the things that we didn't really talk about, but we believe is such an important part of the game day experiences is sportsmanship. And how does Block O find that sweet spot between being energetic and pro-Ohio State and go Bucks, but also wanting to get under the skin a little bit of the folks that the opposing team? Tell me a little bit about how do you talk about this with your members, and then how does it play out on game day?
It's a hard line to toe.
Yeah.
Because you've got kids between the ages of 18 and 22. And a lot of them. So you're not going to control everybody. What I always said is, I always told my committee, we control what we can control. Be respectful, as like boos are fine when the team's running out, that type of thing. But there's a line that we're not going to cross. And hopefully everybody else follows suit. And for the most part, they do. But it's definitely one of the most important things we try to push as well, while creating that atmosphere. So it's enjoyable for everybody.
So what happens when something just goes awry? How do you bring that in as a leader, right? We're always somehow responsible for the actions of others. Everything sort of falls back up to the leader. What do you do when it's in-game activities and they don't go as we would like for them to go?
It's, like I said, a hard line to toe. You don't really want to really go up and make a scene.
Correct.
If something happens. The Redcoats have always been great with us, so usually if it's bad enough, we'll get them involved. If not, it's a, hey, knock it off, like that's not cool type thing. But it's all situational. So it's try to handle it the best way possible without making a scene and kind of amplifying it.
Well, one of the things that I've always loved about Block O is that it feels like everybody knows why they're there, and they're there to cheer on the Buckeyes, period, full stop. That's what we're there to do. And you all always, in my opinion, really embody what it means for a like student section that people dream about, we believe that that is Ohio State. And winning a couple awards to support that kind of validates the fact that you all are doing exactly what you should be doing. All right, Ross and Adam, really important questions, super important. What is your favorite game day snack? Adam, you're up.
That's a tough one. To be honest, I don't really eat on game days. I'm so into it. I kind of
more. What do you mean you don't eat? You eat before the game.
I eat before the game.
Great.
During
Nutrition
the game, I don't really eat. I'm so locked into the game. I don't really eat. So even if I'm watching at home, it's during the game. It's kind of off limits. I would probably say like a hot dog, but it has to be mustard on it.
No doubt.
Ketchup.
Has to be mustard. No ketchup.
Has to be mustard.
No
Mustard.
slaw, no chili.
I would if it's available, but just mustard. Just keep it simple.
Mustard's a requirement. Yeah. I like that a lot. I like that. Ross, you had some extra time there to think.
I know. You know, one of the things that's really been cool here is going around to all the different tailgates ahead of time, and we get offered so many things. You know, and again, depending on the game time, the snacks and the tailgating food may vary. So for a noon game, I mean, it's going to be a lot of donuts. A lot of, do you want a donut? Do you want a cup of coffee, right? Do you want a pastry? So I always try to take a bite. I'm not going to eat a whole donut, but take a bite. Bear claw, can't beat that.
No,
right?
agreed.
You know, during the game, you know, Levy makes this great, like, creamy, like corn dip. That's one of my favorites. So you got the Frito-Lay's corn chips, the dipping size. This corn dip is really good.
What does it taste like, Ross?
It's a little bit of spice.
Okay.
But it's kind of a creamy corn dip. So that's like a good luck charm for me. So those are my game day snacks. Now, if we're on the road, I'm probably more like Adam. I may not eat much until like you start to get a nervous, maybe a nervous pace.
Oh yeah.
Be able to grab a snack here and there. So, but at home, maybe some donuts pregame, and then this corn dip.
The corn dip. I'm adding that to my list of things
Stop
to enjoy.
by sometime if you ever want to try it out. You have an invitation.
I would love that. See you Saturday. See you Saturday. Adam, as you think about, particularly for our first-year students, who for many of them, this is going to be their first game day in the shoe, what advice would you give them?
Show up early and take it all in. Come in, see the band, go all out. Don't be afraid to yell. It can be hard at first because you don't want to stick out, but everybody's there. Don't be afraid to get into the game and just enjoy it because it goes by fast. I sit here as a senior and I still remember my first game in the shoe as a freshman. So it's gone by really fast. So take it all in and take it for what it is, because being a Buckeye is the great equalizer. Everybody's there for the same reason, and it's just a really cool experience.
I think that's the perfect way to wrap up Doc's Download for today. Fantastic. Thank you both.
Great advice.
You're wonderful.
Thanks for having us.
So great. So great.
I want to commend Adam just for his leadership and just, again, change is not easy, and moving things around, and the band has been great partners in all of this, and our sponsors and everybody on our athletic staff, making all these changes. But again, the students are the anchor to the atmosphere. They have to bring it. And so I think what Adam said is spot on. So thanks for your leadership as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure that you are following us wherever you get your podcasts. Stay connected with Student Life, with Block O, with OSU Athletics. And most importantly, Buckeyes, be a part of what makes a difference. We have a role and a responsibility to support all of our athletic programs by being the best damn fans in the land. Go Bucks! This program is a presentation of the Office of Student Life at The Ohio State University, recorded in the studios of WOSU Public Media. Your engineer is Dalton Jones, producers J. Randall Hicks and Matthew Swearingen, and executive producer Jen Vandemark. The views expressed are those of the host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of the university. Join us next time for another edition of Docs Download, the podcast.